Hello. Hey, I'm drawing a blank on the name. How about you? It was humming and the words just weren't getting to me there. Well, good morning. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing. I'm Reverend Sharon Ketchum, and I want you to know that this is the last Sunday in winter. Winter, we love you, and we've had enough of you. There we go. Okay, and it's also St. Patrick's Day Eve. Now, I'm going to throw two things out to you, and then you can Google it and find out why this is so. Did you know that St. Patrick was born in Scotland? He's Scottish. Yeah, there you go, Greg. Greg was telling me he didn't have to wear green because he was Scottish. Here's another one. The original color until only a couple decades ago for St. Patrick's Day was blue. So go search that one out. I'll let you wondering about that. So anyway, we want to welcome anybody who is here for the first time. Thank you for joining us. I hope you received a bag of popcorn. Thank you for popping in. And those of you online, if any of you are joining us for the first time, I'd love to connect with you. You can, if you do something in the chat that doesn't necessarily come to me, but you can send an email to the church, and love to just connect with you. If you have any questions or anything you want to know, be happy to do that. We are an incredible prayer ministry. If you have a concern or a celebration, our prayer box is over there on the table. You can just fill out first names only, please. If it's a celebration or a concern that you might have, our prayer team will join with you, praying for the next 30 days, and then Silent Unity will pray with you for 30 days. And if you're online, again, you can send an email into the church, or there's a place on our website where you can place a prayer request. Let's affirm our mission statement together. We spiritually awaken to our oneness with God, with each other, and with all creation. And this comes out of our vision of seeing a world so powerfully transformed through a growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And at this time when some of the major religious holidays overlap, we really understand the continuum of spirituality, whether it's Ramadan or whether it's Lent. As this awakening seasonally, we also have set some time to awaken spiritually. So let us affirm together, the enlightenment of the Buddha shines within us. The compassion of the Christ moves through us. The power of Jehovah strengthens and guards us. The presence of Allah surrounds and guides us. Wherever we are, the Tao is, and all is God.
From whom the breath of life comes, who fills all heaven and earth. May we shine within us. May we know you're not separate from us. May we feel you in our hearts. Let your will come true. Let us love like you. Thanks for your forgiveness. May we forgive ourselves and others too. Thank you for guiding our steps while we're here. May we walk in love, not fear. When we listen, your message is clear. The kingdom of heaven is here. The kingdom of heaven is here. The kingdom of heaven is here.
Oh, that feels wonderful. By the way, that was Greg Denning, if you don't know Greg, and this is Katz doing signing. They join us the third Sunday of every month. No, the kingdom of heaven is here and now, that state of consciousness. Great time to pray for our neighbors, whomever we share this beautiful blue planet with. And first thing on my mind is certainly peace negotiations and ceasefires in places that are in conflict all over the world. And do you believe all these countries are in conflict? I mean, oh my goodness. So certainly we know about Ukraine and Gaza, but there's civil wars in Syria, Sudan, and Myanmar. There's West Africa, East Africa, Taiwan, in the South China Sea. So as we go into prayer for them today, holding that peace and that hope, that knowing that there is a possibility for harmony, and continuing to hold the evolution of the U.S. trade wars into that mutual beneficial world economy that we can co-create together. And anyone that is in the midst of ending jobs, beginning jobs, job changings, job uncertainty, knowing that God is their source and all those things, and just an overall feeling of wherever there has been labeled illness, that we can take that higher watch and see the wholeness. So let us just close our eyes for a moment and open our heart to each and every living being on this planet, affirming the truth for them. No matter the outer appearance, we can hold to the ultimate, the absolute truth in the situation, that there is a presence of the divine that includes wisdom and compassion, love and harmony, possibilities to co-create a world that works for all. And in the midst of all this humanness working out, we bless our planet, bless nature for the wonderful little signs of spring that has popped up to remind us that life is ever changing and ever evolving. So for this eternal presence of oneness, for the love, for the peace, for the wholeness, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, and so it is. Amen. Okay, a little question at your table. We all have heard the little stories about the leprechauns and the rainbow and the pot of gold. And I was thinking, if you found a leprechaun and you followed it all the way to the end of the rainbow in this pot of treasure, what would be in your pot of treasure? What would be equivalent to a pot of gold sitting there waiting for you that you just felt, this is just what I was waiting for. This is what fills me up. This is what makes a tangible difference in my life.
Wow.
Wow.
So it could be a super big pot, maybe?
Yeah. Pot could be whatever size you want.
Well, this is your question. So have you had time to think of something?
No. I like to do it in the moment. I was worried about getting the question.
Mine is going to be far out.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So
Prime the
I'm all
pump.
about, frequency, vibration, harmonics, coherence, all that stuff. So my pot of gold would be mastery of all those things.
Ooh.
Yeah, so learning how to manifest out of substance or ether, whatever, using harmonic frequency.
Kind of like the Rosetta Stone
Yeah,
for
or
energies.
I believe that, all those megalithic stones that no crane on earth right now could move being put in such perfect precision, I believe that was done through energy, sound energy.
Oh,
anyway.
That's an interest.
Good theories, honey.
Yeah, for mine, I don't think I could settle on one thing. I'm a Pisces. I like it all.
Yeah.
So I see a smorgasbord in there of just
I thought
all those
Geminis
things that
weren't
bring me
supposed to
down.
be the-
Well,
yeah.
Pisces too. Two fish swimming opposite directions.
Okay, so
right?
you're a Pisces, so it's hard for you to choose, but
Yeah, because I like it all.
that's a cop-out.
I know. But chocolate and world peace.
Oh, yeah.
There's an
World
equation
peace
of
by
harmony
giving
there.
out chocolate?
There you go.
Okay.
Maybe that's
That's
it.
it. That's it.
Enough chocolate there to create peace around the whole world.
Yeah. Well, let's
Let's
welcome
welcome our
everybody.
souls
So
here.
let me get my clicker because I
there
seem
you
to
go.
be having
You
a
do.
super big
Okay.
problem with that
Okay.
today. So. All right, we're going to bring up the energy a little bit. We all know it, so come on. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place in the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place in the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. Oh, is welcome here. I don't think I can hit the notes today. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 Oh, my soul is welcome here. 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 Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Woo.
You're on. Tyson is on. Tyson Cowles, drum roll, please.
Good morning! I am Tyson Cowles, your platform assistant for today. I am Tyson Cowles, your platform assistant for today. And boy, is that loud. And based on that, I can say that our daily word for today is quietness. And this is inspired by the 46th Psalm that says, "Be still and know that I am God." Sometimes on our busiest days, we need to be quiet. We need to step away for a couple moments and simply be. We begin by finding a comfortable place. We feel our body relax, our breathing becomes regular and easy, and the busy stream of our thoughts is slow as we open our minds and hearts to the divine presence within us. We affirm, God is here, and relaxation deepens as we focus on this simple and yet profound thought. Peace, love, wisdom, and understanding now fill our awareness. In this timeless moment, there is no discord. There are no concerns. There is only God. And that's all around us. Our heart's wisdom hears the words, "I am with you always." We are refreshed and renewed. We return to the activities of our day. Our soul is at peace, and our mind is clear. Inner harmony is restored. Let us affirm together, in quietness, I am refreshed and renewed. And don't forget to breathe. Okay, March is Women's History Month. And this is a time to highlight the roles of women in our history and accomplishments and progress which were aided and abetted by women without attributing it to the women involved. All right, let's see. Female writers have written under pseudonyms since time immemorial, there we go, for various reasons. Sometimes it was a need for anonymity, since their culture often did not approve of females writing. Sometimes it was to remove cultural bias, which portrayed women as less intelligent, so the writings would be dismissed as something without value. Most often, it was simply to be accepted for publication. And that's a scary thought, isn't it? Had to change their name, had to pretend to be a man in order to be published at all. Louisa May Alcott, famous for the novel Little Women, also published under a pseudonym of A.M. Bernard. When the Gothic thrillers were considered unladylike in the 19th century. 7 novels were authored by Mary Ann Evans, including the well-known Silas Marner. Their popularity is due in part to the author's pen name being George Eliot. And then To Kill a Mockingbird was so popular, they even made it into a movie. Author Harper Lee was just missing the author's real first name, Nell. And in our recent history, J.K. Rowling felt the need to mask her gender in order for her wildly successful Harry Potter series to be read by its target male audience. By the way, the J stands for Joanne and the K for Kathleen. I wonder how many people would have read a book by Joanne Kathleen Rowling. All right. While applauding the achievements and progress animated by both famous and everyday champions of equality, Women's History Month also reminds us that gender bias still exists. Women remain underrepresented in nearly all arenas of power and influence. And women's rights are human rights that need to be consistently protected. So thank you. And now it is my treat this morning to have Jeff English be our soloist. All right, Jeff.
To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep, a time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain, a time to lose, a time to mend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. A time for peace. I swear it's not too late. A time for peace. I hope it's not too late.
Hey. And Jeff, my apologies, I switched the songs around, so so that's why the words weren't up there.
That's no
But-
problem. I hope you're
Yeah. Well, but maybe yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of for every time there is a season, it is a season of Lent right now. That time of, we have an invitation to really delve a little deeper into our spirituality, to become aware of what's going on in our belief system, our thoughts, internal processes. So this week, maybe it's a week that we can fast, go into the fasting from attachment to the past, and fasting from focusing everything on the future, and simply feast on the now. There are a few of the booklets left for Lent in the garden. You're welcome to take those. Find one on the table or look around. You'll probably find one. There's a couple up here. Last week I left you with a spiritual practice of, we talked about the power of being, just being. That when you wake up in the morning, there's that moment before the first thought comes in. Just to savor that. Be aware of how that happens, before you're fully into the day, but you're out of the sleep, and there's just that, it's just a delightful breath that we have that we just, take for granted. We don't even think about it because we're on to the next thing, if you will. As we're going through Lent this year, I'm using some inspiration from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, because the idea of the power of being in the now is so simple, and yet it's so powerful. So last week we talked about, instead of just being, we're kind of a compulsive thinker, if you will. Our mind just goes, comes up with all these ideas. So let's affirm together a little antidote to being this compulsive thinker. Together, I listen to the voice in my head. I notice my thought patterns without judgment. In the deep stillness between my thoughts, I experience the peace, love, and joy of pure being. And we told the story last week that the book starts out with about the beggar sitting on the box, thinking he had nothing, but the treasure was within the box, reminding us to always, the answer is always about looking within. We may have tools out here that help us, but ultimately this is where the answer rests, practicing the presence of now, the internal now, if you will. Ram Dass, by the name, wrote a great book called Remember, Be Here Now, and it's kind of that whole thing about wherever you go, be totally there. There's nothing worse than being someplace and really wishing you were someplace else, because you do a disservice on both ends of it. So learning to be fully present. And Tolle talks about that the quality of our consciousness determines our future. Like we're always co-creating. So, as Jesus said about, you can't serve two masters. We cannot serve the past and the now. We can't serve the future and the now. Being fully present to where we are, wherever that might be, this is what actually goes into that energy, to the steps and the actions that co-create our future. So what is it, do you think, that determines this quality of our consciousness? What makes us have a good quality consciousness, like grade A eggs, if you will? It's really about being in the now, that singular focus. We know the strength of a laser beam. Whenever we can gather all of our thoughts in that one place, it's just an incredible booster to everything that's going on in our life in the present moment. I remember being told one time to wait by not waiting. And I'm thinking this week, my son came down to visit. I knew he was going to come down for the last couple months. And I anticipated it, but I waited by not waiting. I did all my other stuff, normal stuff, and in the back there's this little joy that I knew was going to come up. So that's the difference between focusing on the future, where you're just watching the clock go by, or the calendars go by, or the seasons go by, and wait by not waiting, about really still enjoying the moment that you're in. So it's a really good exercise to do during Lent, about this idea about fasting from attachment to the past. I mean, the past got us to today. God bless the past. It's done wonderful things to get us all here. But when we're attached to it, it doesn't allow us to go forward. Just like when we focus on the future, we miss all this that's happening. When we can be in the now, this is what the Buddhist talks about, mindfulness, that real practice of just being present wherever we are, to be there. I'm amazed at how clever we are that we can be someplace and not be there repeatedly, time and time again. And I would say we've all had moments where we just lost bits of time. We don't know where we are. Somebody's talking to you, and all of a sudden you realize you didn't hear a thing they said. Where were you? You were sitting right there, but entertaining yourself somewhere out there. Here's a wonderful story of this man, Steve Callahan. I don't know how many of you have heard this story. It was from a ways ago, 1982. He was a sailor, and they were doing some sailing things around Europe, and they were solo sailing, and he had made his own boat, thank God, because he had made it with compartments, and he was 6 days out in the Atlantic, and he got hit by something really hard, probably a whale. But it didn't sink right away because the way he had made his boat. But as his boat was being engulfed by water, he had time to get out the raft, to get a few food rations, a solar flare, a spear gun and stuff to get into the raft. Not much chance of survival. He was not in any of the shipping lanes. He knew this. He was a very good seaman. He knew that the odds were going to be really hard, and he really had to think about what was going on. 76 days later, he crossed the Atlantic and came up on the shore over in South America. Barely alive. He'd lost a third of his body weight. But what happened to him in that 76 days is quite incredible, and it's a really good guide for us to stay in the moment without needing to be shipwrecked in a raft in the Atlantic for 76 days. In fact, in his book, he talks about he had a spear gun, and he knew how far it would go. And he said within a few days, like there was this pod kind of going around the raft of fish and stuff. The fish knew how far the spear gun would go, and they would stay just out of reach for him to get it. And then eventually they kind of got used to him being here, and they started coming back into town, into the raft town, if you will. But he said, he kept telling himself, I tell myself I can handle it. He didn't think about when am I going to be rescued. The flares, when he did send them off, couldn't be seen by the ships. He just had no way of contacting anybody. He did have a still where he could make water. He could make a pint of water a day. He kind of made this homemade still with cans and stuff. But this is what he did every day. He asked himself these questions. Which of the elements most critical to my physical survival needs the most attention? The food, the water, or the raft? What is the worst case scenario if I do this? And by the way, the raft that he was on was guaranteed for 40 days. He did a lot of repairs on it. Yeah, 40 days, right. And then he said, what is the most beneficial elements of what is happening right now? So not saying this is good or bad, but what's the most beneficial? No matter what was happening, it could be a storm. You know, what's the good thing about this that's happening to me? And then he would say, am I doing the best I can? And I thought, these questions, wow, when we're in those adrift, when it feels like there's no way out, are great questions to ask ourselves, even if it's a simple day. I can handle this. You know, what's happening right now? What's the best thing I can do about it? What's the worst case scenario? And am I doing the best I can? Yeah, just great opportunities for ourselves to be a little more comfortable with life, a little more present in life. Eckhart Tolle, in his book on time, he says, identification with the mind, if we think we are our mind, gives it more energy, but observation of the mind allows us to draw energy from it. You feel the difference of that? Thinking that your thoughts are controlling you? Anybody who has a chocolate addiction knows what that's like. I mean, your mind just focuses on chocolate, and you find yourself, though the best intentions, there you are, sorting through everything in the cupboard. There's got to be chocolate in here someplace. Identification with the mind creates more time. You keep watching what the time is, the minutes. But observing the mind puts us in a dimension of timelessness. When we observe it, there's a space between all the construct measurements that we have created that makes us feel late or early or out of sync with time, whatever. And he continues saying, once you can feel what it means to be present, it becomes much easier to simply step out of the time dimension whenever time is not needed for practical purposes and move more deeply into the now. And I love that he said this, whenever time is not needed for practical purposes. If you have an appointment with the dentist, you have a practical purpose for time to get you in a place, at the same place as your dentist, in the right place at the right time. But when it's not needed for practical purposes, what can we do to free ourselves from, it creates a sense of anxiety. You know, if we always think we have this clock is running out, we only have so much time we've been allotted in our life, how are we spending it, if you will? And I think one way that we can really feel this, if you ever do anything that's creative, whatever that creative is for you. I went through a period of time where I took silk flowers to decorate around the edge of mirrors, create this pretty thing. And when I was working on that, or sometimes sewing, you get into it, time elasticizes. Like there is no hour or minutes, you're just into the creative process. Another place where I've seen that happen, if you've been down to Unity Village, I found that within an hour, I could do 3 hours of task. Something, do you know what I'm talking about? Where it just becomes so elastic because you're so focused on being and creating whatever it is, that creative process you're in that moment, that this construct called time, this construct what constricts us, just kind of dissolves away. It's just such a wonderful process. So I hope you've all had that experience where at some point in time, there was something that was so heart-centered that time just fell away. And just cherish how that felt. Be like Steve in that boat. You know, am I doing the best I can? That's all you are right in this precious moment. So here's a question for you. If the earth had no humans, do you think earth would have time? I mean, we made up time. It really bothered me when I first heard this, that time was a construct, it was made up, and I'm going, no, it's not made up. Look at those clocks, those minutes, there are minutes. We know there are minutes. You know, it's not a made-up thing. Yeah, it is, just like calendars. So if there were no humans, it'd be a really different kind of passage of life than we have right now. You know, we're coming up this week as spring solstice. And though we mark spring solstice on the calendar, right? We have these based on the moon and everything. I'm thinking about, I see these little buds outside, and I see the pair of geese that have come back, and I see the grass turning green, and they don't have a calendar, and they don't have a clock. There's just a rhythm to life that they're in, as opposed to our neat and tidy little time that so often runs us. If you think about it, it's like we each have our own time machine. I always loved time machine movies. It'd be so neat to go back in time to meet whomever, that you really like, that author or that leader or who knows, whatever that is. But we each run on our own time machine. It's amazing we all get to the same place at the same time at all, because we each have these own time machines of our own. So time is really helpful to achieve those things we think we need to achieve. And I emphasize think, but knowing that time is a real tool, as long as we don't become the tool for time, giving our power over to time. And think about saving time. I say, I save time by driving to work this way, or I save time by doing these two tasks together. What do I do with saved time? Where does it go? There is no time in a bottle. That old song, Time in a Bottle. Why do we think we can save something that doesn't even exist? It's a very curious little thing our mind goes through, this thing called time. So this idea of the control that we allow time to have on us it shows up in a lot of different places. The Sufis say the past and the future veil God from our sight. Isn't that interesting? Whenever we're focusing on the past or the future, we cannot see the presence of the divine. We're caught up in those directions outside of the moment. Meister Eckhart said, time is what keeps the light from reaching us. There is no greater obstacle to God than time. Wow, another one. Taking that moment, the daily word today, that moment in quietness. Or Jesus, he said, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Plain and simple, right? Sufficient for the day in its own self, that each day can have its own things to worry about. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. Just be present today. Trust me, it'll fill up. It'll fill up with whatever you need. This whole idea of being in the present is being in the presence of beingness, of just being here in this holy instant now. And all of us in our humanness are still going to look to each side, to the past, to the future, look to that thing on the wall, the clock, and think that it's measured in these time slots. And beyond that, there's still an ability for us to center ourselves into this now moment, if you will. And there's different types of time. Did you ever notice, as you get older, the kids seem to go on a much faster time? They grow up way too fast. That's the wrong time. But literal time is this thing that we've devised. We've created these great little devices. It allows us to learn from the past, not to attach to the past, not to ignore the past, but to learn from it, and to plan for the future. Make sure your lawnmower is ready. The grass is turning green. It's going to start growing. But then there's psychological time. That's how kids grow up too fast, because psychologically, you just want to keep them in a certain space of development or involvement, if you will. When we get really focused, though, identifying with the past, it creates a lot of these emotions to rise in us because of these expectations, these scripts. We don't allow things to just be, to be ourselves, to be our best self in the moment. And we get compulsive about the future. We need to have all these things ready just in case. For those of us that were around in the 50s, it used to be the bomb shelters. You got very compulsive about making sure you had all the supplies, your water, your canned goods, your Charlie chip cans down there in the event of a nuclear fallout. You can see how we can get so focused on the future we miss what's happening right now. And then we get into really a state of mental dis-ease where it becomes so unrealistic because we're so attached to these things that really don't exist. And on your table, we have the little kaleidoscopes, the little Irish kaleidoscopes. And I think the best way one way to think about this anyway, as we look at the world, we see it, but when we look through the kaleidoscope, all of a sudden there's so much happening, there's so many views of that same thing, that it's even hard to understand what's going on. It's just overwhelming. There's a zillion different ways happening all at once. And what are you going to do with all that? So the difference between how you look at the world and how you look at the world through that filter of being attached to the future or the past. The interesting thing about the kaleidoscopes is if you shine a light through it from the inside out, all of a sudden you have so much more. You have that array of energies shining out of the sun. When we can make a mistake and learn from it. That's clock time. I always say, this happened yesterday at 6 p.m. I forgot to, turn off the hard-boiled eggs. Okay, I learned from that. I'm not stuck back there yesterday when the hard-boiled eggs blew up and exploded in the pot. I just took it and learned from it. There's nothing, no attachment back there. But when we dwell on a mistake, oh, how could I be so stupid? Why didn't I set a timer to remind me to turn that off? Why didn't I? And what if this had happened? You can feel the downward spiral your mind gets into that you're totally making up. It's totally your mind activating itself, proving its worth, if you will. So what? There's things that are happening. Most of our psychological pain and suffering really is about attachment to the past, or those expectations for the future, or something we're fearful of happening in the future. Fear of what might happen is probably a really big one out there for a lot of us to move forward in our own life. Resisting, what we resist persists. Resisting the past, resisting the present. That's a really good one. If you don't like what's happening, I don't want to be here right now. When you resist it, you just create more of that angst and anxiety, if you will. So think about it right now. What problems do you have right in this moment? Not something that's due tomorrow or due in a month or happened last week, but right now. Is there anything lacking in this moment? I see everybody breathing. I can pretty well guarantee that, yeah. And everybody's sitting, so we have some mobility here. We're doing pretty good. I don't see any apparent problems right now in this moment. I think what we get mixed up with is life and life situations. People go, oh, my life is so, fill in the blank. Life is wonderful. The situation might be a little sticky from time to time. The situation might be something you want to grow through, as opposed to homestead in. But life itself, I don't think ever loses the bright shininess of it, the blessing of it, if you will. And if you think about it, our mind, that part that is so attached to being influenced by the outside world, loves problems, really loves problems, because it kind of gives us an identity, if you will. And it's totally insane, even though it's so totally normal. When you get together with people, think about it. How quickly do you share your triumphs? How quickly do you share your problems? Very often we get together and share the broken stuff. There seems to be a common bond with humanity. Maybe it was only my family. We used to have scar comparing parties. It didn't start out that way, but you'd be having a little party. Oh, you want to see my scar from my surgery? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nothing. Wait till you see this one down here. Oh, you think that's bad? Wow, you should see this. And if we didn't have any new scars in the family, there were sure some stories that could be brought up. So there are some other people that have the scar parties? Aren't we funny? So if not now, if not in the now, then when? When does life happen if it's not now? And Jesus said it'd be hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's easier for a camel to go through an eye of the needle. And without going through possible mistranslations, we get the concept that something big trying to go through something very tiny seems so impossible. But for us, the camel that's not going through is really all the attachment to the past and to the expectations for the future that don't allow us to be in the now. The now is very fluid. So our life situation exists in time, that's the camel, but our life is in the now. Our life situation is mind stuff, it's the stories we're making up about all this, but our life itself is real. It's not good or bad, it just is, it's life. And the narrower gate leads to life without all the situation baggage, right? Think about, the camel is such a great visual. Most of us probably have at least a 2-hump camel of baggage we're carrying us. We might have even invented some 3- and 4-hump camels, if you will, to go through there. So going through the eye of the needle, going through the simplicity of being just in this moment, not caught up in our mind stuff, not caught up in our stories. Remembering that in this moment, there are no problems. The suffering that we experience emotionally, physical pain, we feel that. But the attachment to it, the emotions to it, really have to do about these other attachments of the situation, not of life itself. Think about it. If right now you were in a life or death situation, would you figure out the time? A big monster bear comes running through here very hungry. Would we think about how long it will take me to run out the door? Why did I come to church today? I should have known a bear was coming. No, we just act. We do it. We live in the moment. We respond in the moment. We don't think about the bear we saw when we were camping that had the cute little cubs. It was really nice. We get in this moment, not all the other stories that go with it. It's about using our senses. We've been given this gift of 5 senses so that we can be in the now moment. Look what we look. We interpret, not based on bad stories, but based on what's happening right now. We listen, we touch, we observe, we smell. Sometimes we even taste. So affirmation time for being in the now. Let's affirm together. I say yes to the present now moment. I withdraw my attention from the memories of the past. I let go of anticipation and expectation for the future. Body, mind, and spirit, I consciously experience life in this present now moment. I practice the presence of now. With that, we're going to take a little time to really go deeper into the now in meditation. Greg's going to lead us there musically, harmoniously. Get ready, my soul.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
As we breathe that in, I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And allow your body to feel comfortable. Just take a moment to really be conscious of any tension. A little wiggle, maybe to let it go. Wiggling your hands or your toes or readjusting in your chair. In this moment, your body is so happy. There's nothing else to think about but right now. And in our mind, we see with our mind's eye what this moment truly looks like. We see ourselves fully present. stories and judgments and distractions and fears and concerns may dance around the periphery of us. But they need not penetrate this inner stillness of quietness. We have each been gifted with marvelous senses in which to experience the world. But the world is simply that, an experience created, co-created by the collective consciousness of all that is, the divine wisdom, the divine evolution, the divine harmonics. And as we encompass the inner space of this holy instant, this now moment, we listen. We hear the sounds around us, but we listen to the sweet, wise words of guidance. Whatever we need, we hear when we need it. And though we may feel the outer world with our touch, there is such a deeper sense of touch where we feel the presence, like a warm wind moving around our heart, a sunshine beam that glows in our inner core and lifts us up beyond the situation into that glory called life itself. As we allow ourselves to observe the world around us, we also give ourselves permission to simply be in the now, in the fullness and in the perfection, ever creating, ever loving, ever being, at the right time, in the right place, at the right speed. And so it is. Amen.
I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child.
I like that. Okay. So spiritual practice for the week, actually, maybe it's more of a challenge for you this week. If you could pick one situation in your life, one current situation that might be bothering you, and look beyond the kaleidoscope to the truth, be mindful to see if there's really a problem in the now, just to take all the baggage off it and get to the eye of the needle with just one situation. It can be a small one, doesn't have to be a big one. Well, with that, the only problem I have right now is I have the words for the first song, for the second song, but I'm going to invite Jeff to come back, and he's going to sing us about the rose of summer. Is the light changing? Did you see the light? What?
Yeah, they turned the light off accidentally.
Oh.
It only sets the color when it does that.
And it does. So and people thought this was a miracle. That Here I glow. Okay, Jeff, I'm going to turn it over to you because it's the rose of summer. Yes. Anyway.
The best of times is now. What's left of summer but a faded rose? The best of times is now. As for tomorrow, well, who knows? So hold this moment last and live and love as hard as you know how, and make this moment last, because the best of times is now. No, not some forgotten yesterday. No, tomorrow is too far away. So hold this moment fast and live and love as hard as you know how, and make this moment last, because the best of times is now. The best of times is now. What's left of summer but a faded rose? The best of times is now. As for tomorrow, well, who knows? So hold this moment fast and live and love as hard as you know how, and make this moment last, because the best of times is now, is now, is now.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. All right. We've had this sign in front of us the whole service. I just really wanted to call it out. It says, I am always abundant in every way. I am abundant. It's important. All right, now is the time we create a sacred circle of generosity by sharing of the blessings we have received. Giving is a matter of the heart, not wealth. That's why we're abundant. For those in person in our sanctuary, you can place your cash or check in the glass jar on the table, or you can use the QR code on the screen to give your support through PayPal. Whether or not you're sharing of financial gifts this week, we invite you to affirm the sacred exchange by placing a hand over your heart or holding your gift. We bless the gifts we share of our love and our treasure by affirming together Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. Thank you. Our circle of generosity includes gratitude to every one of you who support Unity with their loving gifts. And that's whether it's money or time or thought. Our circle of generosity grows even larger when we share those gifts with others. As a tithing ministry, a portion of our tithes is shared with local charitable organizations that inspire and bless us. For the first quarter of 2025, our choice is Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and their mission is simple and powerful. It is to ensure that no kid sleeps on the floor in our town. They make beds and supply them to youth who do not have a bed. Let us affirm our blessings as we sing, I am so grateful.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful.
Let us take a moment to deeply immerse ourselves in gratitude by collectively blessing the gifts received on our table. Let us affirm together, given in love, received in love, we dedicate these gifts to do the will and the work of Holy Spirit. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Unity is a community. And to help us connect better to maintain a healthy community, there are questionnaires on the table, and they just happen to be on green paper. I don't know if that was... Anyway, this represents a 360-degree review of our ministry. It is really helpful if you'd invest just 10 minutes of your time to fill out this questionnaire. It can then be deposited in the acrylic mailbox on the credenza, right over there. And thank you in advance for helping us to be the very best that we can be. All right, game day, woohoo! Following the service, everyone is invited to come play some board games or euchre or whatever we want to do. And that'll be on the south end of the hall. Hope to see you there. All right, next, the March Unity Pulse is on your table. Please check out the information on art submission for the Passion of the Creative Mind, as well as information on the Unity camping trip that's in May. That's gonna be fun. You can also check Unity's website or sign up for the weekly e-news to keep current on what's happening at Unity. A reminder that if you enjoy the coffee and the snacks for your Sunday service, you can sign up at the snack table, and this is important. We need people to make that coffee. Things get rough without the coffee. Following service, prayer practitioners are available to pray for you one-on-one. Might really be needed if we don't have coffee, so. You will find them right up here near the lectern with a purple stole to identify them. All right, let's create a consciousness of community as we sing, I choose love. And then that'll be followed by the prayer of protection. So feel free to stand place or to join in a circle around the back. And remember to be respectful of people that might not want to hold hands. Maybe you could touch elbows or something like that, right?
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace on the planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. I choose love. We choose love. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God is within us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Thank you.